Okay. Let's see if you can hear me. Can you hear me now? Let's see if you hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. You can hear me? Let me know. Yes, yes, yeah. No sound, no picture. Thumbs up? Yes. Can't stop, won't stop. I am a resilient Sagittarius. I will keep coming and coming and coming. Peace, family. Welcome to another discussion. I know I never come to you late. I apologize. I don't know what that's about. Well, I do know what that's about, but it doesn't matter because I'm still relative and relevant. So I'm still able to talk and be heard and translate this message. So peace, family. I know you never give me a night, but I decided to sleepless in Orlando. So I decided to make a video on something that I think is really relative and relevant. So anyway, peace to the east, the west, the north, and the south. You know how we do. And I want to discuss this new implementation that is going to be, which has been instructed by President Trump to discontinue the already existing SNAP program and Peace Family, and to change it and morph it into something that would give people boxes of food monthly based on their stipend, as opposed to allowing for dispersing monies on a card or what have you on SNAP to allot for people to be able to choose their own food sources however they see fit. Peace, and that's a conversation because this is something that I found to be really on point, and it's a detailment of the consciousness of the beings on this earth at this particular time. The fact of the matter is that now let me backtrack because I was going to jump right in. Let me not do that. I always have a back leg. When I first moved to Orlando, which was almost 5 years ago, I think it was 5 years ago, roughly. I remember I was excited because we had purchased a home based on the fact that it was close to Whole Foods and a lot of Starbucks. You already know how I do. I don't make apologies, and I really don't hide that from you. So the fact of the matter is Whole Foods was there. This is before Monsanto was sleeping in bed overtly with Whole Foods. Okay? So remember, I come from when, I came originally and I used to grow about 70 to 80% of the things that I ate, all my vegetables and fruits. So I was excited to move to a place that had more citrus and more sunshine because I knew I was going to get vitamin D. But I was going to make sure that I could, re-establish my cultivation of my agricultural skills and try to fit it into the alignment of living in a more tropical area. But the fact of the matter is Whole Foods was here. I was excited. I remember the first day I went in Whole Foods before I purchased the home. Before the home was purchased, I went into Whole Foods, and I remember maybe I was the only person of color in Whole Foods, I think at the time. I think I was the only person of color shopping, as opposed to those who were workers who worked in the general area, as far as being merchants in Starbucks, in Whole Foods. So that was okay. I was adjusted. I was used to that. I'm from New York. Sometimes New Yorkers, we have much more people of color who have maybe had more access or had the knowledge to know to go to Whole Foods for certain non-GMO foods, more organic produce. That's something we knew in New York. So take it like a week or 3 weeks later. I go in Whole Foods as a regular. I had my little nieces at the time. They were more so toddlers, and had a baby and a toddler. And I remember going in, and I remember seeing my first couple of people of color, and they were Nawapians. This is when I found out that Dr. York's people were told to migrate. Some people were told to migrate to Orlando because it was a vortex here. I thought that was interesting because I chose Orlando to move to, kind of like off, almost like it wasn't something that was well thought out. It was just something I decided to do and manifest. I think many of you know I've done that. So I remember talking to the Nawapians. They were shopping, getting some organic, like facial creams. I don't know what they were getting. They were more in the soaps, and the products like more like soaps, toothpaste, and things like that. I talked to them for a bit. It was really interesting. I knew about the Nawapians based on the fact that I heard about the Nawapians who were connected to Dr. Malachi Z. York, who many of you know is a person who has discussed a lot of the ET connection with brown ETs, and also had the facility in Atlanta, yada, yada, yada. Many of you who know that, I don't want to go too deep into that because it's really not relative. So as time went on, I had the conversation, I loved it, one about my business. Time went on, the speckle of pepper, that's what we call brown people, in a sea of salt. And I don't say salt to be disrespectful. I'm just saying, pepper, salt and pepper, lunars and carbon beings, salt and pepper. I'm using that term respectfully. So as time went on, I noticed that there was a heightened amount of people of color just consistently going. And I was so excited because it's so beautiful to see our people of color really showing up and choosing their organic goods, really making healthy choices. And I was really enlightened, and I really loved seeing that. And I love seeing the progression from the time that I moved. It was a very short period of time, the time I moved, to see many more people of color showing up in Whole Foods. Later on, I found out that there was the SNAP program, which is EBT the same as SNAP? Is EBT? I think EBT and SNAP are the same, right? I think they're the same. Food stamps had allotted for people who had they're the same. EBT and SNAP are the same. So EBT had allotted for people to be able to choose whatever places, and Whole Foods was on that list, which I thought was incredible, along with a couple co-ops that were fresh produce places that sold fruits and vegetables fresh and local, which I thought was awesome. Because I think, listen, it doesn't matter. A lot of mommies are on SNAP. A lot of people who are on SNAP are moms who have children. And I think it's fantastic for those mothers to have some healthier choices, especially going grocery stores. Because if many of you know, back in the days, the majority of people who had food stamps, which was paper at the time, I'm a woman of a certain age, which was paper, they were only allowed to go to specific stores. And usually these stores were located in urban areas where there wasn't a lot of healthy choices, where there was the meats were very, very old or restamped and sold. There wasn't a lot of healthy fresh fruit unless you were living in a West Indian area, because the West Indian areas tend to have, they stimulate the necessity for fresh fruit and produce. That's just what they do when they move into certain areas. But most of those recipients wouldn't be West Indians, because West Indians are not on SNAP because they weren't necessarily citizens yet. Okay, so most places in the hood or in urban areas did not have good choices. Okay, for that reason, I love the fact that they had this. Now, mind you, let's fast forward over a couple of years. Let's take 2011 is when I moved here. 2012, after 2012, there was a big boom. When I say a boom, I remember going into Whole Foods on a regular basis. I stopped going as much. I changed some of my stores because Monsanto, obviously, now I understand why Monsanto became in bed with Whole Foods, because there was a lot of people of color, the indigenous, the Moors, whoever you consider to be those of color, carbon beings, melanin dominant beings, who started to show up in holistic ways and started to show up in co-ops and Whole Foods and many of the different naturopathic markets that allotted for SNAP, for them to take SNAP or EBT cards. Okay, which was fantastic, because again, I'm always a fan of mommies having healthy choices, because a healthy mommy is a healthy baby. And a lot of times moms didn't have very many good choices in urban areas where they didn't have a lot of fresh produce. The produce was usually chemicalized. And remember, the Zionists work in the eugenics system to make sure they're chemicalizing and putting a lot of chemicals on the food in the urban communities, because they know that people of color generally go to the same places. So the eugenics program was fully in effect in the hood. Okay, so remember, as the boom is coming, there's more people of color showing up in Whole Foods and in other healthy places. I noticed that after this, that's when Monsanto decided to put his foot in, and that's when I started to see soy and a lot of the products that were in Whole Foods, which I'm disgusted about, but I don't want to go there. Then we fast forward to 2018. Whole Foods now, if you go to today in Orlando, big up to Orlando. I can't tell you my exact location, but some of you see me in Whole Foods and you shout me out. So big up to y'all who are in Orlando, especially tourists who recognize me. It's beautiful to see now in 2018, we have plenty of people, indigenous people, people of color, being able to afford good, healthy, non-GMO foods, can have a raw lifestyle, and enjoy all the amenities of um, food stamps and a black woman. Well, listen, if they, okay, now, whoever made that statement, I could read into that, but let me give you facts and let me give you statistics. The majority of people on food stamps and welfare are non-melanated people. That is a fact. I cannot make that up. It's amazing that they stigmatize many people of color as being the majority of people on welfare, but statistics prove that the majority of people in the United States of America are not of color. And I also know, big up to Brooklyn in the house, many of the Hasidic Jews, the Hasidai, the Orthodox Jews, are known to be the biggest proponents of welfare. So please, if you did not know facts, you need to go back and get your receipts and understand and understand what the conversation is. If you have an issue with people of color, please don't lump them with something that is not relative. I'm speaking about small demographics of people that happen to be people of color, but for the majority of people, I think it's 75 to 80% of people on welfare are non-melanin dominant beings. Booyah. If you don't believe me, then you need to check your facts. And education is really detrimental for those who are lower in consciousness. Let's move forward. Anyway, so now we fast forward to 2018. President Trump is now the president of the United States of America. We've become a laughing stock of the United Nations and many of the other wealthy conglomerates, other nations that look at the United States of America, voting for a being that barely could spell the word friend, as looking at us as insane. But to say that his ideology, his concept now is to take away the options for moms, dads, grandmas, and let's lump in the fact that there are many senior citizens who are also on food stamps or EBT or SNAP, who require it because they have very limited income and they no longer. And I will speak to those seniors who have lost spouses, especially if they're female, who have lost spouses who no longer get their pension, their full. Many people don't talk about spouses who lose another spouse and lose an income. Sometimes they lose their home, and also they end up needing the extra assistance of SNAP to allow them to supplement their nutritional needs. And we never speak about seniors. We always talk about the younger people who may need SNAP and need that assistance as moms and dads and aunties, but we never really talk about the seniors who require. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, let me just remove. I forget I'm in the midst of. I forgot I'm in the midst of YouTube. I've been on Patreon lately, so I'm not used to trolling as much. So I've gotten a little complacent. So I'm get up back on my game and make sure if you're disrespectful and you say nasty and disregarding things, you too will be blocked and you will be removed. That's I don't have a problem doing that. I'm okay with all forms of conversation and input. But by all means, Carlos is here. My Carlos is in the house. You better watch yourself, because we have one of our watchers, one of our wonderful sun stars, who will come and block some of you. Anyway, so what was I saying? So we have I was going to say President Bush, President Trump. I forgot his name for a minute. That tells you how relevant he is. We have President Trump, who's decided to perhaps pull back from welfare. Now, what many don't know, and some of you do know who are actually getting SNAP and EBT, you would have noticed already that he pulled back funds on EBT already. So you have people who were on EBT and SNAP, and it's already been cut, either 10% or 20% already. For those who are already getting a form of SNAP, you've already seen a shift and a downsizing of the amount that is normally allotted to you. Okay, and it's different from WIC. If anyone knows what WIC is for those mothers who give birth and need a little bit of assistance, or they accept assistance for themselves and their children. But with WIC, they give a lot of dairy, a lot of eggs. What else they give? A lot of sweet juices, a lot of non-healthy things, and I don't think they get any option for organic whatsoever. So with WIC, why I don't think that program will change is because everything is genetically modified and everything is part of the eugenic system, cherry picked by the eugenicists. So if y'all are getting WIC, just know that that will probably stay online based on the fact that it's part of the eugenic system and it's purposefully being kept there for the fact that they cannot get, oh, thank you. You said eggs, bread, milk, juice, and WIC. Yes, they don't get the healthiest choices and they really don't care that you get any. Yeah, it's a lot of junk food. Thank you. And when I say junk food, I'm just saying breads that have high fructose corn syrup, which are a mental blocker and mess with your brain synapses. Eggs, which are high on cholesterol, and you don't allow for brown eggs or organic eggs. You get juices that are high in sugar and not a limited amount of sugar with an option of organic. What else? All that. Okay, so we have President Trump taking away the amount of, and like I said, family, I'm talking to the people of, I'm talking to everyone, but I'm really speaking to the fact that why this happened is because the smaller demographics of beings, which is 30% and less, which are the indigenous who do get food stamps, oh, I shouldn't say that, SNAP, who do get that, they are the ones who were stimulating for this being who you call your president of the United States of America to make that new change. And why he's doing it is because since Whole Foods and a lot of healthier places have been allotted to have healthier choices, or you have healthier choices of stores to go to, the consciousness of the beings who are now eating less starchy foods, more organic, local vegetables and fruit. Children are now getting less of a soy-induced, starch enriched food, staple. They are now getting healthier choices, and you're starting to see it in the consciousness of the melanin dominant, indigenous, more carbon community. And this has caused a red alert. Now, for any of you who don't know, there has been a CIA, FBI watch list now of those who are speaking in consciousness, in a way that's consciously invoking or motivating people to do better, to eat better, to think better, and also question the motives of those who are presently now being disbarred from their positions, but presently are in positions of power. And because of that, they noticed that ever since they allowed for others, for Whole Foods and a lot of other places to have the people able to shop there, that the consciousness of the vegan community, the veganists, the naturopathic beings, the natural hair, happy to be nappy hair that is coming online, because again, natural hair allows for your receptors to allow for you to pull from information from the universe and from the sun, and then it filters that information inside of your codons, unlocking codons from your ancestors and allowing you to wake up and to be uplifted in consciousness. And for that reason, many of the conscious community, the real conscious community, the awakened community, has become a danger to the establishment. And I have to say this, I'm really disgusted. I'm going to sidebar. Maybe I'll make I purposefully wore my purple and white shirt tonight because Alex Jones' show, the gentleman on there who was messing with our show at one point, I forgot his name, Eugene, I don't know what his name is again. He was mocking us with the purple and white, and I heard that he was purposefully mocking us. So I thought I'd ricochet him by wearing our divine colors and telling them, if you don't want any problems with the divine, you need to stay in your lane and make sure you're not mocking us. Because if I take you as a threat to our cohesion, our unity, there's going to be an issue and there will be a repercussion for those who come against the divine. Remember, I am residing in home court advantage. And because of that, I'm surrounded in a stadium of those divine who are in the same conscious and frequency as I, and we have perks, and we will allot those perks to anti any beings that come against us. So I suggest you sit in your lane, Alex Jones. That's why your show is being attacked, and that's why you're being taken off YouTube. If you thought we were weak, I'm letting you know we're not. And there will be a consequence to all those who come against the divine. Let me go back and discuss it. They don't deserve that much time on this. So I just wanted to state this. I know that it's going to affect many of the sea stars, and some of those who are in need of good, healthy choices. But I will say this. For those who feel that you are concerned that this is happening, remember, for every action, there is an opposite and direct reaction. And if this is something that they think will work in their favor, I will tell you, I will share with you that it will be quite the opposite. Because at the end of the day, we are sitting in home court advantage. The babies and the mommies deserve to have healthy choices and to have healthy options, as opposed to before, where they're only getting garbage in their neighborhoods based on the eugenicists that were employed here by your United States government, that employed these eugenicists from the Nazi movement in Germany, along with those in Central America that moved to Central and South America, that have been online to making sure they have created programs to suppress and to euthanize the urban people of color that are resided in the United States of America. Okay? I noticed a little glitch there. And for that reason, I just wanted to say, walk in your power. Walk in your power and know that you will always have what you need at the time you need it. Except that you are standing in a position of healthy choices and positivity and unity, and you have everything at access to you. So if they decide to implement this, which I've noticed and I've heard that they've already lowered the amount of funding that they've given to SNAP to put a little pressure on those. Now, I will state this. For all those who are not doing the right thing, who have SNAP and EBT, this will, of course, give them the pressure to have to motivate them to go in another direction. If they're overutilizing SNAP for negativity, if they're selling their SNAP to other people for drugs or alcohol, if they're utilizing it for low field reasons, there will be a consequence to them, and they will probably feel the angst or the actual, they will actually feel the oppression from this program being pulled. Okay? But for all those who are mommies, daddies, grandmas, grandpas, uncles, young niestas who are in requirement of the SNAP, I will say, make sure you hold in your strength and your power, and remember that you will always have what you need at the time you need it. So if they do this on one angle, I guarantee there will be some reprieve on another angle. And I wanted to make sure that I reassured you, so that if you felt a certain way about this program being pulled from you, or you felt a little pressure, take the fear out of it, as you should accept that you are in home court advantage. And Divine is online. So all things connected to mothers, elders, children, families, fathers, you will have what you need and what's necessary to uphold a higher consciousness with your star seeds that are coming online. So let me, I just wanted to talk about that. Okay, let me just, okay, so I just wanted to bring that up, and they started messing with your live. Yeah, when this is being addressed, wait, let me, Dirty Water said, I agree. I know a woman who gets nearly 600 in SNAP. 600? That's how much? Wow. $600? Okay. And blows it on Debbie cakes, ice cream, and it hurts. Well, that's what I'm saying. There's always a consequence. So for those who are doing something that's diabolical and obviously utilizing it for things that are not what it's intended, they will feel they will feel the oppression of it. They will feel the actual pulling away. So it will motivate them. Like I said, it will motivate them to do something maybe more positive for themselves. Maybe she doesn't need that many Debbie cakes and ice cream. I don't know who spent, I don't know her, but you're saying this person who spends a lot of money in sweets and candy or goodies. That will motivate her to, oh, she has 5 kids. Well, that's okay. That's not healthy for the children to have all the time. I'm not saying children shouldn't have goodies. You should always have goodies. Children enjoy goodies. There's healthy goodies too, and fruits should always be your first option. You can have sweets and everything as far as candy and I call it synthetic sweets because it's like crack. White sugar is like crack. But you should also have other options. So if this is a type of mother who gets that, maybe the program of getting the box of healthy goods, even if they're genetically modified fruit, would be better than her buying Debbie cakes and stuff. So maybe her children will benefit from it. That's where it may be a benefit to someone who does something like that. You know what I mean? Banana ice cream with cocoa powder. Ooh, that's a good one. See? I mean, there's healthy choices for mothers. So if there's any Nazis still alive today, they would be 90, I'm pretty sure, oppressing people of color. Mike, you are correct. But you must realize that if there are Nazi beings, they gave birth to children, right? They seeded themselves. So we don't always assume that because the Nazi, when I'm talking about the Nazis, even though they were reestablished here, that they came here and they had children and families. And you do know that they passed down that information and that knowledge to those that are part of their family or part of the corporations that have employed them. So yes, you are correct. If there were any Nazis, they would be aged already, unless they're using age reversing technology, which some of them have access to via the ETs that they were working in alignment with, but they have seeded themselves and they have children and children's children that have given birth and also working for these big companies, because a lot of times the companies will keep same family system in based on the fact that they don't want information coming out to the public. So, booyah. Remember, I'm a woman of a certain age, and I don't say that I'm the smartest, but I'm pretty savvy, and I'm well traveled. English is not my first language, and I sit on many different tables of all different socio-economical status quo. So because of that, when you're speaking to me, I know that you just see a woman of color, and I know that in this matrix, the woman of color has been so suppressed and degraded, on television. But I will speak to the fact that that is an illusion, that I exist and there are more like me who are even smarter and well-traveled and even have a higher sense of consciousness than I. So if you want to oppose something that I say, just know that there will be a form of interaction that I'll have that has some intellectual, component to it. And I know Nazi families. Yeah, and I know Nazi families that are living in Colombia. I know Nazi families that are living in Argentina. I know Nazi families that are living in Manhattan, New York, and still living in buildings that their family were able to afford at the time when it was nothing, and they are still here. And I know Nazi families whose children are actually doing quite well because their eugenics grandfathers had made sure that they in their practices, that they made sure they took care of their children as financially, and made everybody healthy financially, and made sure they secured the family lineage. So let's go back to food. I know I'm on the line tonight, and I'm a little late too, so the trolling is a little different. We get those who are the late night beings who come on here. So I just wanted to talk about obviously the SNAP being taken away, and all this is the fact of the matter is that it's a testament that you were all doing well. It's a testament that we're actually one, because for the fact of the matter, the consciousness is so high that they're getting so desperate that they feel like, oh my God, the genetically modified food, which we've already made sure made sure that Monsanto had damaged every possible seed possible, we no longer had control because these beings are becoming more aware. They're loving themselves. They're raising babies with self-esteem. Their hair they're happy that their hair is nice and coily. They're actually singing songs about brown women being beautiful. Oh my gosh, the world is turning over. We have to make sure we change the food. This is what's happening. So this is a testament that we have won, because if they're getting so desperate that they have to make sure that they go to the lowest level and try to force food on you, it shows that your consciousness has already been raised. Oh yeah, the watermelon with seeds. Did you see me one time, Matrea? I was on a hunt. Listen, I remember my mate. He's calling right now. He's gonna have to wait. I remember my mate. I would not go over to his house until I drove all over Orlando, because I grew watermelons. Oh, it's late. I grew watermelons, and I used to grow pumpkins. And the fact of the matter is, you could not find a watermelon anywhere. Only place that had watermelons was a place all the way downtown, like further out. And this guy sold them, and was so sad because even when you got the watermelon with seeds, they would be old. So I would have to buy 3 of them to make sure one of them was good and still nice and firm and not old. And oddly enough, Walmart sold both seeded and unseeded. The difference is that the unseeded, the seeded, it's going to be genetically, there's going to be some chemicalizing, but Walmart actually had seeds in their watermelon. So I found that interesting that they sold seeded and unseeded at Walmart. Go figure. Planted a lemon tree. That's perfect. People tell me the beautiful every day now. Can find grapes with seeds. Yeah, grapes with seeds are, you already saw some of the heirloom seeds I have. The globe grapes still have seeds, but the globe grapes, they tend to spray. So you'll tend to see globe grapes, the big red ones. They're so sweet. Now those are they're not my favorite, but they're one of my favorites. Those have seeds, but they tend to be chemicalized. So it's best to go to farmers, local farmers. Now grapes in the South are a little harder because there's no local ones, because we have such venomous, we have a lot of pests here in the warmer regions. I find like in Pennsylvania and New York and Jersey, you guys have more of an option for fresh, especially during grape season. Grape season, to get really good grapes without the chemicals on it. I remember I had a third of an acre of raspberries. See, what's interesting with that is my babies, especially when I was pregnant, when I gave birth, I used to let them pick the raspberries straight off the vine. And I told you my 1/3 of an acre of raspberries that I grew, they were cultivated by daddy longlegs, who ate all the little bugs that used to mess with the leaves and the raspberries. So I used to let my little ones pick straight from the vine and shove them right in their mouths, as many as they could eat. And it's so sad because I buy raspberries now. My little ones remember the yummy ones that they had fresh from the vine. And it's hard for me to grow raspberries here in Florida. That's something that it's a little more difficult. I find it a little harder to do. There's certain more citrus, more latex fruits do well in warmer regions. It's hard for me to grow those. I love raspberries, especially fresh ones. Mint. Oh yes, I love mint, and I love chocolate. And I love this. I don't eat mint because mint bothers me, but I like the smell of chocolate mint. Like I used to have plant chocolate mint outside of my house at my other home, and I love the smell of it when it blew in the morning. Cherry grapes. We're talking about food. See, I'm not eating, family, and then we talk about food. But I just wanted to talk about this. I think it's a testament to the consciousness, the rising of the consciousness of people of color and everyone. I don't want to just limit this to people of color, because obviously Lunars who are living in a very limited, who are limited financially, they too will be affected by this. But I find that people of color had more issues with having fresh goods or having the information that would give them incentive to eat better and healthier for themselves. I see with the raise in consciousness and self-awareness and self-love that more Indigenous people are now going to healthier choices. I see all the nistas out at the stores reading all the ingredients. I see, and all the women are with natural hair. It is so beautiful to see. I'm so grateful that I have children at this time. And many of you should be very happy that you too have children and that you're giving birth to children star seeds that will be able to live and exist in a time where there will be some sense of equality, no, equity. I don't believe in equality, equity. Equality is everybody's on the same level, okay? Even if they come from lesser. So even if equality is going across the board, there'll still be an uneven level. Equity is giving people the right step of increase or decrease to allow them to sit in a more comfortable position. So I'm always a proponent of equity as opposed to equality. Equality does not do fair by people because there are people that are coming with natural deficits from generational curses of being enslaved and being suppressed. So I am a proponent of equity, putting a stepping stool to someone who maybe had 4 generations of deprivation based on some form of genetic warfare, and stepping them up to someone who's not had that generational offset, so that they're more an even playing field. That's just my take. So what do you feel about this? It's a late night conversation. Soy is for ballet. I agree. Ladies and gents, we need more of this, of us farming. Absolutely. My babies are clear. Yeah, I think we need more farming. I think it's happening, to be honest. I think this conversation was something that was more alien before, literally. I see everyone growing. I see mommies growing potatoes. I remember there were people asking me how I gardened all the time. I see a lot of moms and dads, even daddies, even my brother is, my sister-in-law is, I have nothing on my sister-in-law, and we don't see eye to eye sometimes, but my sister-in-law she's from Jamaica, and she grows everything. I hail her. I watch some of the cues of what she does. I thought I was fantastic, but she does that. My brother helps her. I see that more. So I can't really say that we're not at that point. I really just see everyone really getting to the level where everyone's gardening, because we should not be. The problem with over farming is because it rapes the land of its nutrients. If you keep farming in a particular area, you're taking all the resources out of the land, unless you're a composter. Unless these lands that farm compost, which most of them don't. They just chemicalize their soil, and they give it almost like what we call like the equivalent of steroids to soil, which is unhealthy for good, healthy fruits and vegetables. So natural way to farm is to only grow what you and your family would consume, or a little extra so that you can exchange with your neighbors, but not overly farm for a multitude of people, because you're giving to a multitude of people for fiat, but you're raping the land at the same time. So I don't agree with that. I think everyone should grow their own food. I think it's very easy. I think it's not as difficult as people take it. I don't care if you're living in a cold region. I lived in a cold region. I grew 70% of my produce efficiently, and I'm a messy gardener. When I say a messy gardener, I allow the garden to choose what's necessary to grow. I don't pick how things grow. I allow it to grow in sync, so that I eat what flourishes. You just started composting? Yeah, my nickname used to be compost chick. That's what they used to call me, compost chick. It pissed off my ex, though. He didn't like me composting all the time, but it is what it is. Yeah, and support your local farmers. There's a lot of co-ops that are very inexpensive, $10 a month. You can support co-ops, local co-ops, and that way that you can make sure you support local co-ops so that they have the necessary funding to keep upholding to growing goods that you can exchange at the farmers market. And be careful of going to some of the Asian markets, which hold on. FleurBrun, have you heard about them killing us through the receipts in grocery stores? Receipts have cancerous chemicals. They're killing everybody through everything, and I wouldn't doubt it. I've not heard of them killing people through receipts. Someone just said they're killing people through the receipts, through the grocery store, the receipts. Everything. I've already told you, we've had this conversation. That's why I love to have this conversation with you. If you're still using toilet paper, you're killing yourself. I use bamboo toilet paper, and I've used it for years. I've used unbleached, natural, recycled bamboo toilet paper for myself and my family. I do not use pads. Many women are now using Diva cups for their menses, but I haven't used pads with formaldehyde because they put formaldehyde and on the pads. I've used, it's called nature pads, for years. I think 10 years, 10 or 12 years. So there's an assault on you in every level. So just make sure that's why the cashiers use gloves if they're smart. Yeah, bamboo toilet paper. Yes, I've used bamboo toilet paper for the last, I don't know, 3 years. And before that, I don't use seventh generation anymore because I've heard that they are dirty, meaning that the seventh generation has already got on the Monsanto loop. So I don't mess with seventh generation in any way, any form anymore, nor Tom's. I've not used those for years. But I do make sure that I'm respectful by using bamboo. I don't use trees to wipe my behind. I think it's disrespectful. Remember, I'm a tree hugger. And nappies, you still use bamboo nappies. Yes, nappies are the diapers. The diapers that they sell now, I did a live of the bamboo diapers that were on sale at my naturopathic place in my neighborhood. I like baby wipes that have bamboo. Yes. So they have things that you can use as alternatives. You should not be using anymore. If you're conscious, you already know. You no longer need to use women, because we're in home court advantage, all those chemicalized pads and things like that, you won't have access to. If you're using cotton swabs on your face, you should use non-bleached ones. They have holistic ones, non-bleached, that are natural. Most brown things are better than anything's bleached white, okay? Brown is the color that you should really strive for. Anything that is bleached white, you can anticipate that it has a chemical process to make it white like that, okay? Tom owns Colgate. Thank you for that. Yeah, Maya just said that. Yeah, I use the Green Beaver, which many of you know me from my Facebook with my little ones. I am one who will share everything for free. I don't ask for anything free. I share everything that a mommy does. I tell you, I use Green Beaver, which is a Canadian company, and I use it toothpaste only because it is free from baby on the brain. It's free from a couple chemicals that you have to really watch, especially they put it in milk. And it does not have any, obviously, I'm not a fluoride fan, and many of you pregnant women will also notice that when you get pregnant, most pregnant women won't touch toothpaste anymore, and they think it's the toothpaste. It's not the toothpaste, it's the fluoride that their bodies are naturally. The baby will tell you what's not good for you, and the fluoride is something that repels a lot of pregnant women when they first get pregnant, because the body knows that is not something you should have. Okay, so that's something you have to be careful. So I love Green Beaver. If anybody loves it, I verified the company. I think they're a wonderful company. I use it for my little ones. I trust them, and it's great for their gums, and it has a lot of positive enzymes. And remember, toothpaste shouldn't taste like sugar. Okay, they make everything for little people taste like sugar, and then you create sugar addicts that become alcoholics, because remember, alcohol is distilled sugar. So what they do by giving babies everything with sweet and good sweet tasting, you should stay away from sweet with the babies. And this is a mommy telling you this. You should go with bitters. Bitters get rid of parasites. Many of the West Indian parents and grandparents, you know that we only deal with bitters. The bitters get rid of anything that's acidic, any of the things in your body that are parasitic. Hate bitters. Only take bitters. Even with the babies, you used to give them bitters when they were babies. Okay, so get your babies acclimated to bitters. Neem is actually really good. Neem is great for your gums too. It's good for your gums. It's good for your brain. Okay, so yeah, find any bitters. You can get bitters. Dog face. Look for the bitters. Look in your local market. A lot of the Asian markets have bitters. Bitters are something in Asia and in the Caribbean and in certain parts of Australia. They're really big on bitters. Okay. You used to get Maitreya. See, the West Indians give us bitters, and it keeps us, keeps a healthy cohesion, keeps you a healthy homeostasis of your body, and it gets rid of parasites. Everybody's worrying about these worms and parasitic cleanser things. If you do bitters every once in a while, you stay pretty clean of any bitters. Veganism, soy. Listen, soy is in everything. Listen, I'll tell you a story today since we're online. I'm chatting with you. Hold on, let me just tell my mate I'm live. Hold on a second. Um, I went to what was I discussing? I was losing my train of thought. Oh, what was it? I was just gonna tell you something. Oh gosh, I hate when I sidebar. I just talking about something like, oh, soy. Okay, soy. Okay, so I go to, now many of you who know me personally, you already know what I do. I'm a Sagittarius, so I'm already in action all the time. I go to 4 or 5 different places. I'm never really consistent. I change up things. I used to be more methodical by how I used to be more monotonous in how I shop. I don't do that anymore because I noticed that they follow your ebbs and flow and they change things based on your patterns. So I switch it up every once in a while. So I went to uh, Trader Joe's. Okay, I went to Trader Joe's. What was it, yesterday? And when I went to Trader Joe's, I used to get these graham crackers. The only graham crackers are okay for my little one. She likes graham crackers with my flaxseed milk. She loves to dip. Remember back in the days when you used to dip your cookies in milk? She loves these graham crackers and she likes to dip it in her flaxseed milk. I love it because she likes to drink the milk afterwards, which is great. Flaxseed, I only do flaxseed milk. It's a good karma. It's the only thing I do for my little ones. I don't go with the nut milks. I stay away from the almond milk. And a lot of you have allergies to almonds. And the babies with patches, just make sure you don't have an almond allergy, which I'm noticing. That's something in the FYI for mommies and daddies. Okay, so I go and get the graham crackers that I've gotten before. Mind you, I verify everything. If you want a friend that verifies things, FleurBrun is your gal. I verify everything and I over verify. So I used to get her this. Stay away from rice milk. Rice milk has arsenic. Okay. Right, rice milk is what we used to have back in the days. I'm a woman of a certain age. That was our only option was rice milk. It has a little bit of arsenic, and after time it will cause inflammation in your stomach. Hemp milk is good. I give that to the babies. Anybody who has a little baby who you want to acclimate them to something that's non-dairy, hemp milk is fabulous. It's good for them. Okay, if they can tolerate it. Okay, so anyway, so I get this graham cracker and I verified it, but I said, you know what? I haven't verified it in the last, I don't know, 6 months. I go and I read the graham crackers that I've been buying, I think 2 years with Trader Joe's. Do you know what they had in it? It was the newest ingredient that I noticed that they added. Of course, soy lecithin. So again, the soy monster, which is the devil, the soy is the devil, they added soy. So it pissed me off. It pissed me off so badly because I knew that these graham crackers are very inexpensive. They're very affordable. I love them. I can bring them in my snack bag when I go out with the little ones, and she loves it with her crackers. I can no longer buy it now because these bastards had just added it secretively. You don't get a notice in the mail. You don't get a public notice. They add these things they're very insipidous on how they do it. They're very slithery in how they do this. So now this has soy. So I have to go back to my days. Remember, when I used to nurse my babies and everything, I used to always make everything. And again, a lot of you know me from my mommy life. Many moms are on here. Big up to the soccer moms. Many of the moms are on here. I was the biggest person who they knew you can go to my house. I made everything. I made my own breads. I made my own cereals. I made my own pastas. I grew my own food. I did a lot of that, especially when my little ones are little and I had a lot of time on my hands. I don't do as much of that because I had access to buy things that I thought I could verify. Oh no, family. Oh no, no, no. We have to get back to those days. I have to go in flip mode back to the days with the little ones when they were very little and start making everything again. Because after I saw that, I saw these devils. That's why you cannot trust anyone other than yourself. If you're not making it yourself, if you are not the one creating it yourself, then you cannot for sure be certain that this is not something that's going to be a chemical or poison to you and your family. Okay? So now, instead of being lazy and not doing what we used to always do, we have to, patches on the skin come from almond. Yes, the patches on the baby's skin is coming from almond milks, and it's also coming from allergies to eggs. Okay, so be careful with that. And synthetic fruit. Okay, synthetic skin fruit, like bananas. The bananas are homogenized. There was 2 forms of bananas. Only those small Chiquita bananas are actually the heirlooms. Those actually came from Costa Rica and more Central America, the little bananas. But those big bananas are homogenized. They're not healthy. And a lot of people, I have an allergy to bananas. Where the heck did that come from? It's because the bananas have been homogenized. So I can eat no bananas anymore. I didn't have an allergy when I was younger. I have an allergy now to bananas. So you say, and I buy organic bananas. I even have a banana tree. I can't mess with it because the banana tree, now that I know it's a homogenized tree, I will love my tree. I know it's a genetically modified tree, but that banana is a problem. Okay? You never eaten eggs, be grateful. Okay, dwarf bananas are the best bananas. If you can eat the little Chiquita bananas, but then you got to be careful. But the one thing I say about bananas, it's harder to leach chemicals in bananas because they're a potting fruit, and it's harder to leach the chemicals. So if you're going to eat bananas, try to eat the little Chiquita ones. Yeah. Oh, you start to notice patches on your skin when you direct the. I told people I did it. Somebody asked me to do a workup for them. I'm not an orthodox nutritionist, homeopathic. But remember, I've been about this world, so people will come to me to do workups, not orthodox workups. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a naturopathic doctor, but I'm about that life. So I remember doing a workup for someone, and I told them they were drinking tons of almond milk. They were newly founded vegetarian, not a vegan, vegetarian, and they were doing a lot of almonds and nuts. I told them to stop. They were like, why? That's my staple. That's what I enjoy. I said, stop doing the nuts. I said, one thing I noticed is that my father and grandmother who got cancer, both of them, my grandmother survived. She's 101 now, going on 102. Big up to my granny. My father, they were big nut eaters, and they came to United Snakes. Now, remember, I come from an island that has cashews. Nobody knows cashews are encased in poison. It comes from my island in St. Lucia. In St. Lucia, our cashews are big, but there's poison around them. And anytime you have any type of anything with poison encased in it, just like onions or garlic, it will have an anaphylactic, like a lichened kind of thing in your body. So those who eat a lot of nuts, you're going to have issues gastrically, and it may eat up the lining, and it may eventually cause autoimmune issues. So I always tell people, lay off the nuts. Even if you're a vegan and vegetarian, lay off the nuts and the rice. Those are the one things that will suppress your immune system over long periods of time of consuming it. If you do almonds, do it once every 3 weeks. If you do cashews, do it once a month. That's fine. Everything in moderation. But I always tell people to stay away from nuts and stay away from almond milks. Anytime it goes to Walmart, you should question it. Okay? Anytime you see some natural things go to Walmart, be mindful. Even with this, I have the water bottle, but I filter my own water. I'm about to buy oxygen. I love the oxygen water that I bought. So I don't like buying anything. So I'm going to get an oxidating water machine to oxidize my water. Listen, if I like something, I'll make it myself, because I can only verify what I do. Yeah, rice has a little bit of arsenic. That's why places where people eat a lot of rice are short. It stultifies the bones. It atrophies the bones. Okay, and it could cause arthritic problems later on. How do I know this? Because I've lived a long life. I'm 180 years old. I remember my grandmother's still 101. So I verified a lot of things. Yeah, wash the rice. That's how the West Indians do it. A lot of people my mother washes her rice. She always did. I used to ask her, well, Mommy, why are you washing the rice? She was like, you have to wash the rice. She didn't even know why she was washing the rice. She just washed the rice naturally. Okay, what about walnuts in Brazil? Now, via Dr. Sebi, Brazil nuts don't have as much of that toxic, the way that the Brazilian nuts, Brazil nuts, the composition of Brazil nuts is a little more complex, and it disallows for some of that autoimmune issue that comes about with the other nuts. So I do agree with Dr. Sebi, Brazil nuts and walnuts in moderation. I love macadamians. Macadamians also are rich in what is it? They're rich in something specific, which I enjoy, but it's not good to eat it a lot. Okay, everything this is what I say. If you enjoy, I drink coffee, right? Okay, everything in moderation. I drink coffee every day. So because I drink a lot of coffee, look what I do. I have to do, whenever you see my eyes, this is an indication when FleurBrun, because I drink coffee. Coffee is not necessarily good for me in a natural way unless I do my own beans. You'll notice I get bags underneath my eyes. I also use a vegan eyeliner that doesn't come off, and I don't use soaps on my face. So a lot of times I have eyeliner left on my face and it looks like bags. That's sometimes the case. But sometimes I get bags underneath my eyes because I'm not hydrated, because I drink coffee. So if you notice when I drink coffee, You don't see the bags as often. I don't use makeup on my face. I don't use foundation or anything, and because I don't use soaps. Okay, because of that, you'll see my flaws from based on what I'm not doing. So when I drink a lot of water, you'll see that my eyes become robust. So, I just wanted to let you know. Because someone called me a heroin addict at one time because I had bags on my face. I was like, do I really look like a heroin addict? No judgment to the heroin addicts, but I just didn't know why I was being called that. But it was because I had bags underneath my eyes like I did drugs. You already know I'm drug free. I'm alcohol free. Only time I drink is once in a blue with like friends, and it's like once every couple months. And it's tequila. And it's a certain kind of tequila. Yeah, yeah. So no, I get bags under my eyes, so, and I don't sleep sometimes, but it's really hydration and it's vegan eyeliner that I don't take off. I'm serious. I can't take it off, and I don't use soaps, so it takes a couple of days. What about meat? I already told you about meats. Meats. Let's see. Meats are okay. There's so much going on right now, family, and I got to be careful how I tell you this because it's a late night view. Okay, I told you why they're doing the whole veganism. They're doing it to entrain your mind. They're doing it because they have these nanobots in microfibers coming from the chemtrails. They're going underneath your skin. They're able to program you via your cell phones. The cell phones, they're able to program you through your cell phones with that blue field light that comes on your phone. You see that blue field light? It interacts with the nanobots in your skin. So that's why they want people to become more vegans, because for some reason, the more alkaline your blood is, it allows for the nanobots to replicate itself and allow for more susceptibility for your mind to be taken over. That's a fact. We just found that out. Okay, I just wanted to tell you that. I've spoken that before, but I verified it and it's on point. Okay, so the veganism is really to train your mind, and it also lowers your immune system because the majority of people on this planet are mixed with reptilian and other beings who are not vegetarians by nature. And the majority of people should not be vegans based on the fact that their genetics are not going to allow for that long term. I personally think it's okay to be a vegan for a couple years and then switch over to conscious vegetarianism and then maybe do pescatarianism and then go back to veganism. I think there's a wonderful span of time that you could do it cohesively. That's my personal thing. Okay, that's what I've now what is it? I say is good. This is my opinion. I personally, like I said, if you know me for as long as I was, since I was 15, I was a vegetarian, a vegan, kosher. Listen, I went through ebbs and flow, but what I found out is when I got really sick on, yes, chlorophyll is fabulous for your bones. And it's good for your lungs, because when my little one got sick, and remember the flu was going around, I give them chlorophyll, which I use the chlorophyll. Sousa is my chlorophyll. It's a liquid chlorophyll I give for my little ones and myself. Sousa, I put it in their water, they drink it. That's why I say the little ones are fine. Once you do that as a mother, the little ones don't know any difference. They'll drink it. It's great for your lungs and it's great for your bones because it's like melanin. Chlorophyll is equivalent to melanin, the tree's melanin. Okay. So I really, diodes are fabulous too. But no, we're talking about nanobots that are going in the skin. Remember I told you I moved to Florida and I noticed I started to get hives. I didn't have that when I was living in Pennsylvania, New York. Not at all. You'd see my skin. My skin is pretty, like I said, I haven't used soap on my face. Listen, family, I haven't used soap on for all those people who buy soaps for your face and cleansers, I haven't used soap on my face since I was 15 years old. They said, what is your regimen for your look? I said, my regimen is no regimen. I haven't used soap on my face since I was 15. And you know why I didn't use it? Because my mother bought me Neutrogena. Do you guys remember Neutrogena? I think if you're not older, you don't know. My mother bought me Neutrogena, and it for a pimple right before I was about to go to my junior prom, and it dried out my face, and it made my face look worse than the pimple that was on my face. So I vowed, I'm a Sagittarius, I don't care. I vowed never to put soap on my face again, and my faces look similar to how I looked. If you look at my high school pictures, I look similar. The only thing is I had glasses. Yeah, Neutrogena. Oh, it was terrible for my face. Oh my gosh, I used it. It dried out. It gave me a dry patch like a reptilian. I was like, who would use this on the face? And the pimple was like all patched up. I was like, who would do that? I didn't use soap from then. Don't use soap on your face, and stop using foundations, you beautiful nistas. Some of you are the most beautiful women in the whole wide world. You're beautiful. Stop using all that foundation. I see all these commercials with these girls taking 2 days to put foundation on your face. You don't have to. You know how you keep really good skin? Water. You know how you make skin really, really moist? Water. You know how you make your skin really tight? Water and lime. Water. Hydration is the only reason your skin would look bad. If you have really bad hydration, then your skin will show it. And by putting all that craziness on your face, I'm not saying, I think you're all beautiful. I've seen some of these television commercials with the girls putting all these things, and then I see some of them, they're so pretty. Their skin is beautiful. They putting all these layers and stuff. Yeah, if you want to put eyeliner, if you notice, I put eyeliner on and I put a red lipstick once in a while, and then I usually just use like a non-Vaseline lip. You always see me putting like a non-Vaseline lip balm on. I don't use anything with. Oh, that's another thing. I don't use anything with petroleum. We could have conversations all day. I don't use petroleum. Don't use anything with petroleum. That's another thing, people of color. That's why they don't want you going natural. You stop using petroleum hair stuff, and petroleum has black goo residue. Listen to me, black goo residue. That's sentient residue. Yeah, petroleum. And they have petroleum in a lot of things too. Don't put it on the babies. Don't put petroleum jelly on your babies, please. I have the one. I wish I could get it for you now. Where is it? You always see me on the lives with it. I always put it on my lips to keep my lips moist. Okay? Don't use that. That don't. Andy has chemicals. Yeah. I know a woman who used it for a long period of time. She was fine. She looked beautiful. She used Andy in her eyes, underneath her eyes. No lip gloss. No, I use that non-petroleum jelly. I use it on my lips. And people always think I have like lip gloss. No, I just use that. Petroleum has sentient. It damages the brain. It also causes fibroids. Okay, so anything that goes on your hair can cause issues with fibroids, and petroleum also has sentient, has a consciousness. It allows for mind control. So be careful with the petroleum. Petroleum has been utilized on people of color because a lot of people of color put grease and stuff and hair products with petroleum. Why do you think they don't put petroleum in a lot of hair things anymore? Okay. Avocado oil is good if you're not allergic to avocados. Many of you have to find out your allergies. Some of you don't even know what you are. This is another conversation. It's another conversation. Many of you don't even know where your families come from. Many of the indigenous people, you're not good with a lot of these foreign. Coconut oil, I'm allergic to coconut oil. I never was before. What does it say? And I buy cold pressed coconut oil because you don't buy anything that's been processed. So cold pressed means it's been through a lesser process. I'm allergic to coconut oil. Where did that come from? Because even if it's organic, it means that something has been genetically modified. The base has been genetically modified. I never was allergic to coconuts before. Where is that coming from? My mom used to grease me up with something serious with Vaseline. Well, most of us back in the days, coconut oil makes me itchy. Yeah, the coconut oil, I don't mess with coconut oil anymore. Is there a way for people to go vegan and use something else to protect themselves from? Yes. The nanobots don't like magnets. Okay, so use a lot of magnets. So if you think that you want to be a vegan, you want to uphold the lifestyle without the nanotechnology, wear magnets on yourself. Wear magnet bracelets. What are they called? I used to wear them all the time. Sometimes I wear them. I sleep under magnets. Get the flat mats from Michael's or from Hobby Lobby. There's like flat magnetic things. Put it underneath the pillow. Wear magnets on your body. Yeah. It'll deactivate them. I learned that from Dr. Delbert Blair. Big up to Dr. Delbert Blair. Hematite. Hematite does well. Hematite is another one. Yes. Very good. Who said melanin? Yep. Melanin knows what they're talking about. Yep. Shugite. I can't speak on Shugite. I can't speak on Shugite. It's just it's something I never heard about before, and I don't really have the intel to speak about. I see it in a lot of the places that I go to get my some of my crystals and stuff. I don't know it, and I don't know where it came from. I know they talk about it's good to put in your water and so on, but I haven't verified it, so I can't talk about it. Yeah, wear magnets on your body, family. That's a good way to counteract anything. Wear magnets on your head. If you be, don't get crazy with it, because you know I could be a little paranoid. If I wore hats like some of you niestas wear or you gentlemen wear, I would put a magnet underneath my hat. And also, I was gonna make a video on. I was gonna. I'm gonna stop it. I'm only doing it on Patreon. I'm not gonna, because anytime I talk about it publicly, they try to stop my thing. I'm gonna make a video on why the Jewish people wear yarmulkes, because I know I can't talk about it here on YouTube because they ban me, and I could be accused of all kinds of insidiousness. But I'll talk about why the Jewish people wear yarmulkes. Not the reason why they detail it, not the religious reason, but the real reason. So I'm only talking about it on Patreon. I got to remember to make this video because I thought about making the video. Sometimes I have good videos in my head because I know stuff, but I forget to make them. So I just forget I had the thought. Yeah. Wear magnets, family. Wear magnets all over you. Wear magnets on. Oh, I could say. No, I'm not going to say it. I have some things to say. I'm going to keep it PG on this. Is this FleurBrun? This isn't FleurBrun After Dark. There's something a little freaky you could do with magnets that would help your sex life. And it would help mothers also to pull milk from the nipples. Mothers who have problems nursing, magnets are good for you as well. But I can't, again, I'm going to keep it PG. Sometimes I go left and I say things, and you know, I there's all kinds of beings on here. Some of you know me already, but you know, I don't want. Sometimes I have to watch the things that I say, because some of you think I'm freaky, and I'm really not. I'm not as freaky as I may seem to you. I just know a lot of things, and it's not based on everything I've done. It's just been sourced out by everything. But she said, "Say it." I'll leave it for the niestas. Yeah, I'll do it on FleurBrun After Dark. I'll tell you something to do with magnets. Some of you men need to use magnets. Yes, it's deodorants. I've used the same deodorant for years. I make my own deodorant, and how I learned to make it is, and it works phenomenally. I had a girlfriend who moved to Bali. She met this guy. She fell in love, and she moved to Bali. She was a lunar. She was always sweaty and stinky. She was like, I don't know how to do this. She was a vegan. She was like, I don't know how to do this. My scent is always usually good, but I moved to another region. I don't smell good. The curries and stuff make you smell differently. So she came up with this concoction, and I've used it for the last 10 years. It is simply baking soda, a little bit of coconut oil. If you can't use coconut oil like I can't, you can use avocado oil, but coconut oil is good because it's an antifungal. Avocado oil or red palm oil, and a little bit of essential oil. I don't use all that. I just put the baking soda and a little bit of the essential oil, the oil. That's it. Baking soda, the only thing I will say is you will get dark underarms, and you can always counter that by using turmeric to clear up your skin underneath your arms every once in a while if it gets too dark, because baking soda can scorch your underarms a little bit. Okay, so I've used that. I smell like a goddess. The only time, literally, because I used to use another deodorant that was really good, but it wore off pretty easily. So that was the only one I've used. It's worked for years, and I dance a lot. Not as much anymore, but when I was dancing in competitions and stuff, I smell like a goddess. And that's one of the things people say they enjoy my scent. And it's because I use something, and I don't have a scent to it, but I use that. I'm just reading the comments. So baking soda, yeah. Oh, you said yarmulkes are magnetic helmets. I have something to say about that. I agree and disagree all in the same one. They are helmets. Oh, use nothing with, oh, what did you say? FleurBrun, the deodorant you use has an ingredient in it disguise it and it's real. You're talking about baking soda. Baking soda has a natural. There's natural baking soda that does not have aluminum. There are things that do not have aluminum. I know what you're saying. Baking soda has certain baking soda and baking powder has aluminum. You get an aluminum free. Bicarbonate naturally does not have aluminum. It can have it based on processing, so you are correct. But if you get an aluminum free, you just have to be careful where you get your baking soda from. And again, I wash with baking soda. I utilize everything with baking soda. So you are correct in that aspect, but you can't get aluminum free baking soda. Okay. Yes, baking powder has aluminum, but you have to get baking powder without aluminum. Thank you, Carlos. But maybe she's talking about the processing of baking soda. Oh, Fleur, no, it's the one deodorant that you use that it's the roll on. It's the one. Oh, really? Wait a second. You talking about the one, oh, Cadillac. You talking about the little one, the one that I use? That's aluminum free. That's one that's used with aloe. Do you know something I don't know, Cadillac? Please share. Okay. Arm and Hammer. Baking soda does not have aluminum to my knowledge, even Arm and Hammer. The only thing I know is baking powder has it. Yes, magnets help with fibroids. Magnets neutralize a lot of dis-ease because they balance everything. Use Arm & Hammer, you're fine, Lady Vegan. I personally, I know Arm & Hammer to be fine. That's what I verified. Did you say turmeric is good for dark? Yes, dark patches. If you get bags underneath your eyes too, like if I have to do an event, because I never do my hair, I go out. I have a banana clip in my hair. Look, I have an 80s banana clip in my hair. I rarely go out, but if I have to go somewhere, I'll do turmeric underneath my eyes. It'll clear the patches underneath your eyes and underneath your arms. And for those who have thickums or legs that rub together, in between your legs. So you can put turmeric and some cucumbers and also like some lycopene from tomatoes. You make a paste and you put that in between your legs and it will lighten up the patches. It's like magic. And the celebrities do that. Those who don't like chemicals, they have another one. Turmeric is great. We were talking about that on Cypher, drinking the turmeric tea. I drink that. We were talking about the golden. One of the girls brought up the golden milk, and it's really yummy. The one you had for your kids, this is an agreement with a different name. Oh, really? Thank you, Cadillac. Cadillac, hit me up in my my inbox in FB. Tell me what the ingredient. If you could tell me what the ingredients is, I'd love to know. It's a trick because they do that sometimes too. Thank you. Well, the girls stopped using that deodorant. They use mine now. But I didn't want them to use mine too often because it has that baking soda. But let me know what that is. Yeah, turmeric, cucumber, and tomatoes. You smash it up in a paste, and you put it in between your legs and leave it there for a little while. It'll lighten up the skin around, especially around your eyes. Golden milk is yummy. We were talking about that in Cypher. Big up to the Cypher crew. The golden milk is turmeric. I use flaxseed milk. Turmeric, flaxseed milk with ginger. Some people put black pepper. I don't mess with black pepper that often. They put another form of pepper and what was the other ingredient? Oh, cinnamon. Oh, it is so. Let me tell you, family, it's so good. If you want to get a good night's sleep, it's good for you too. It's good for your cardiovascular. It's wonderful for you. It's wonderful for your to clear your third eye, to clear up your pineal gland. It's phenomenal. It's called golden milk. Oh, it's so good. We were talking about it the other night. Big up to Vanjie, who's on Cypher. I don't know if she's on here. Vanjie was talking, because some of the nieces were talking about it. We were talking about the golden milk. And I actually have to make it for my mommy. I'm glad I spoke about it right now. It's really good for you if you have any form of it's tummy aches or so on. It is so delicious. Yeah. Oh, I like moringa. I make the moringa and soursop iced tea with lime. Yeah, I tell you all day. I'm going to make a recipe book. My mate keeps telling me to. I have a recipe book. I have all these recipes that I've created myself that I've done over the years, just being a mom and being in this world. He keeps telling me to write the book. I have the book. I have all the recipes for my book. You already know. I need more focus. That's why I'm with the earth sign. So I have to. Yeah, it's turmeric, cinnamon. I use flaxseed milks. Other people use regular milk. If you're a vegetarian, they use regular dairy milk or goat milk, which is richer. I don't use dairy. And cinnamon, ginger, and what's the other one? That's it. And some people put pepper in it. Oh, it's so good. You can use coconut milk, yeah. It's yummy. And you drink it at night because it'll relax you. It's such, you feel a difference too. It's like a spiritual. We say golden milk because it makes you feel spiritually connected. Some people put honey. Oh, you could put honey too. And if you do honey and you're a vegetarian and not a vegan, honey, make sure you get local honey. Make sure it's raw and unfiltered. And when you do that honey, make sure it's of season. So like when the flu season came about, I told people if you're going to do anything or for allergies, make sure you do unfiltered honey that's within season. So spring season, there'll be honey, use it of that year, and it will get rid of a lot of respiratory issues, but you put honey in as well. So milk, honey, turmeric, cinnamon, and some pepper if you like that. That's golden, that's the golden milk. Magnets help with fibroids. Yes, I would take a magnetic. Well, a couple things help with fibroids. Fibroids is an internal thing. There's a couple things going on with someone who has fibroids. Dr. Jewel Brookman talks about disease being connected to unresolved mental trauma. So a lot of times women who have fibroids had dealt with not feeling loved, especially by the males in their family. So I state this first because we can never really heal something by putting a band-aid on it with magnets. We have to heal the consciousness that created the dis-ease. So because of that, we know that fibroids is linked to feelings of non-worthiness and non-love. And if we heal that aspect of what created that disease, we can then address the physicality of it and it'll usually disappear. So fibroids, what we have to deal with is deal with and resolve anything that you dealt with maybe feeling non-loved or not worthy. Times that you tell yourself you're not worthy in your head, you may not realize that the language that you say to yourself is maybe not positive. Talk about that. And then when you address that and heal that and forgive yourself and forgive those who you feel have neglected you in that way, because remember, the only love that you need is self-love. We usually put so much emphasis on all these outer people loving us, but at the end of the day, it's really how we feel about ourselves, how we treat ourselves that matter. Because no one outside of yourself should ever or will ever treat you better than you treat yourself. Okay? Usually people treat you how you treat yourself. So for that reason, I want you to resolve that. So I love Jewel Brookman. She humbled me to that aspect of dis-ease. And when you deal with that, then you deal with the aspects of the external. Magnets, putting on your tummy. And I also told you to have blackstrap molasses, which is high in iron. And you take that, blackstrap molasses is told to us that it shrinks fibroids. So taking a tablespoon of that a day, if you can stomach it. Some people have problems. One of my nieces likes to drink it in her water. She likes the taste of it, which is interesting. I'll take it in a spoon. I have it as my staple, plantation, blackstrap molasses, unfiltered. Have it in your fridge as a staple. Take that daily for about 2 weeks, and then discontinue it. I always say, don't continue with something because you want it to always work. And then it's said that it shrinks the fibroids. And then I want you to, before you do that, I want you to deal with the mental feeling, whatever's created it. I want you to go deep and deal with the pain or the trauma that's occurred. And then you can do a magnet over your tummy, okay? So put a magnet. Oh, thank you, Kenya. Kenya made a donation. Thank you. And put something on your tummy, okay? Blackstrap molasses, plantation, okay? Have it in your fridge. It's good for you. It's high in iron. Some people's stomach can't tolerate it, but if you can, take it. Oh, okay. I did. Oh, okay. You did watch that, yeah. So, a lot of, we're in Whole Court Advantage Divine, and a lot of the things that, I haven't heard of Uncle Harry's Cadillac. I'll look it up. Yeah, a lot of the trauma has happened to a lot of sea stars and sun stars. I don't want to just limit it to females because a lot of men have been molested and raped. Women have been molested and raped. Women have lacked love through their father figures or males, and it's shown up in their lives. So for that reason, we have to address those traumas and be able to. Shunga mushrooms. Also, reishi is really good. Reishi mushroom. Reishi gets rid of cancerous cells. reishi, Reisha, reishi mushrooms. They're hard to get, but reishi mushrooms actually reverse cancer cells. Okay, so that's another mushroom. I'm not a fan of brown people messing with mushrooms too much because it's a nightshade, just like eggplant. Nightshades are anti to melanin. Um, there's been studies that it does something with melanin. It works with melanin and not in necessarily a positive way. So for that reason, I always say balance is key. If you're going to do something, do it very, especially if you think it's anti to you. Because I have a brother, my older brother hates mushrooms. Oh, mushrooms to him are a nightmare. He has nightmares about mushrooms. I used to make, I used to make a lasagna, and I diced it so small he wouldn't know. He'd eat it, but he hated the look of it. He wouldn't mess with mushrooms, and there's a reason why. Something in him did not want to mess with it. So just make sure, like I said, do mushrooms. If you have a lot of melanin or copper in your skin, I would be careful with mushrooms. They're nightshades and they will mess with you long term. And fermented vegetables and fruits. So for those who have melanin, who are melanin dominant, be careful drinking things like I enjoy kombucha. I like some kombucha, but kombucha is not good for people of color. We have different enzymes in our stomach based on our melanin content that expresses itself on the surface of the skin. For that reason, you got to be careful with fermented things like sauerkraut. I used to like sauerkraut on my hot dogs when I was younger. So I haven't had hot dogs, like regular hot dogs, for years. I used to have this mock version. I don't mock anymore because I'm past that stage, but I used to like it on my hot dogs. Fermented things are anti to melanin. So you have to know who you are. Nightshades are not good for you. Nightshades are like, eggplants are nightshades, mushrooms are nightshades. There's a couple others. Those are anti to melanin. Okay, they did studies on it. They won't let melanin dominant people know because they want you to be anti to yourself. But if you know over a long time, it's not good for you. So if you do portobellas, um, every mushroom is a mushroom. Okay, there's different forms of portobellas. I don't really know specifically if there's any anti to it. I just know long term, don't mess with mushrooms if you have melanin. Okay, Fleur makes toothpaste with bentonite clay. I use um, do I use toothpaste. I use charcoal to brush my teeth. I use charcoal, and bentonite clay is good for cleaning your gums. Okay? I love eggplant too. I I do. Yeah, bentonite clay is great for your teeth and your gums. I use charcoal to brush my teeth to make them white. Okay? Teeth are not meant to be really white because bones aren't white. I think you probably heard that before. So it's not really natural for your teeth to be super, super white because it breaks down the enamel of your teeth if you bleach them. Okay, even though you think they look pretty. But I do use wonderful charcoal on my teeth, and I clay my body with bentonite and also with apple cider vinegar. Okay, and I don't mess with apple cider vinegar because it is fermented, so I only use it to clay myself. I don't drink apple cider vinegar. I don't put it on my salads. I do put key lime, as the acidic version of my salad dressing. I don't mess with apple cider vinegar. Okay. Extreme cases of allergies is because this planet is toxic. Because you got ants. A lot of the allergies that everybody's getting is because nature's been tampered with. So over mowing of lawns, creating plants and putting trees in environments that trees were not meant to be. We have here in Florida, they bring all these trees from Thailand and so on. So when you bring an alien tree to a native land, the tree will begin to build an ante, and when it antes itself, it will express itself in giving oxygen that has anti like poisons. So that Florida is one of those places that we call aesthetically beautiful, but the fakest place you could be. They put everything's fake. They spray everything to make it look so pretty. Nothing is naturally here. So I was working out the other day in the gym, and one of the nieces was saying, "Oh my God, she came here and she got like skin problems." And I said, "I did too." But it's because to make it look that aesthetically beautiful, they do everything unnatural. Because nature does not need to be aesthetically that, you know what I mean? It's too aesthetically unnatural. It's not natural how everything grows. And a lot of the palms are not from here, they're from other countries. And when you bring foreign trees, just like they won't let you go in Hawaii That's why when I go to Hawaii, if you notice, if you guys fly to Hawaii or to other islands or places, tropical places, why do you think they don't let you bring the agriculture back home, or vice versa? You know why? Because it will cause the nature to do some antis to you. So all these allergies and stuff is because you have non-native trees and non-native green things in areas where it's causing these trees to express themselves and giving venoms out. There's an actual movie that talks about when the trees and the plants attack people through the oxygen. Okay? I know we're discussing. We go side. You know when people watch, because they don't see you live stream. I wish they could see you live stream, because they think that I'm going all kinds of crazy, right? When people watch the after live stream, because I'm talking to you, we're interacting, they don't know what I'm talking about. So a lot of times they think I'm just going off tangents. Well, I do go off tangents, but they just think I'm going. They just think I'm going all kinds of left, and they don't realize we're having a conversation. So after the fact, they're like, "What is she talking about?" I try to read your comments, so at least it's not me just reading it out loud. Why apple cider? Um, Apple cider vinegar, for some people, listen, if you are Nordic, okay, German, Irish have a little bit of that melanin content. Not Irish. Irish have some of the components of people of color. They have a lot of melanin on the inside of their bodies, like Asians do. If you're German, if you're from Sweden, if you're from Norway, if you're from England, okay, you're very, very fair skinned. You can have fermented fruit and vegetables. It will not mess with you. You create an enzyme in your body that processes that fine. That's why those from those regions can eat starches, very heavy starches like potatoes and meats. They have different enzymes in their bodies. It is a fact. Those are who are indigenous from the United Snakes of America and from Central and South America. We lack the enzyme to process those fermented things. It's not what we did. We had access to fresh fruit, being that we were from warm regions, and we lack the enzyme that those who have it from colder, cooler regions. Okay? So for that reason, the Irish are kind of get lumped in with people of color. They just do. They have a unique genetic quality. That's why they have the red hair and the freckles. They have a unique. Thank you, Indigo. Oh, donations. Thank you, Indigo. That goes to FleurBrun Sanctuary. Thank you. The freckles and the thicker hair and the curly hair, they have a linkage to actually, and they're connected to those those leprechauns, those Africans that went to the inner earth. They're mixed with people of color, the Irish, so, and the Italians too. They have the hyperpigmentation. Even if they don't have a lot of melanin on the surface of the skin, when you cut their skin, they get brown on their sores. They get brown on their marks. That's hyperpigmentation on the inside. So they have a connection to people of color. So they can kind of be lumped in with us because they have a lot of the same sensitivities and same necessary for skin. Because melanin, everybody has melanin on the planet. You would not be able to live on this planet if you didn't have melanin. People have more melanin, and those who have heavy amount of melanin, it spills onto the surface of their skin. But someone who doesn't seemingly have melanin could have a lot of melanin on the inside, and someone who seemingly has a lot on the outside may have bleached organs, meaning their organs have no melanin on the inside. So you got to be careful, because some people have melanin, they just don't have it on the surface of the skin, but they have it all on the inside. Okay, so when I talk about melanin, there are beings here who are highly melanated, who look very fair. Thank you, Dollface. Aw, I'm thinking donations. Thank you. So just be mindful of the melanin content, because everybody has melanin. Everybody on the planet has melanin. You couldn't live here if you did. Irish and Scottish. Well, if you have Irish, you have that sensitivity like the brown people. Be careful with the fermented things. That's why you see Irish people who have same, like I said, same dispositions of people of color as far as nutritional restrictions. Okay? Sulfur. A lot of people of O positive are allergic to sulfur. Like myself, Cipro, certain antibiotics that have sulfur, which a lot of them do, they're allergic to sulfur. A lot of O positives runs along lunars and people of color, melanin dominant people. I know we could talk about this all day. You guys are picking my brain. This is late night, so I'm a little more open to and receptive to it, How do you send a super chat? Someone, I don't know. I don't know how. I didn't even know I had super chat on here. I don't know how they go into super chat. I know it's on here. See, this is what lets you. Like I said, I'm that auntie. You know when you have, some of you are younger, so I'm like that auntie and mom that that got access to the internet, and you're like, oh no, don't let her go on there. She's gonna talk about spaceships. I'm that one. I'm the auntie that they allowed on lives. At least I'm not dropping it like it's hot. Yeah. O negatives are off-world blood. O negatives, a lot of O negatives have a lot of issues with allergies too. You got to be careful. They're doing so many things with with the environment that it's becoming anti to everyone. So if you have hyper allergies, you're living on the wrong planet, because this planet is they're germiciding everything. Everything is they're messing with everything. They just really are. I mean, I can't even eat a banana, and my family's from the Caribbean. What is that? I can't even eat a banana, and I'm from the Caribbean. What does that tell you? Sad. My gosh. I love bananas too. I never used to like them when I was little. Maybe this is not the case. Maybe I had an allergy. But remember, I mixed with 30% of the people from Norway. So it could be that, we're mixed with a lot of genetic people. So it could be that, it could be that more that European propensities coming through, because Europeans especially from the north part of Europe, they have those sensitivities to citrus. They can't have citrus. They can't have, they can't have latex fruits like bananas or avocados. So you got to be careful with that too. You have allergic to mango, right, Desiree? Yeah, if you mix with European, you might have some natural issues with being anti to fruit and citrus, because that's not something your ancestors had access to. You just didn't. So sometimes if you're eating things like that, you gotta be careful. Okay, that's why I say cashews. Cashews are the devil. You gotta be careful. Cashews are I love eating cashews, but cashews are the devil. Okay, and because I come from an island where I see the process of it, and I've seen a real cashew. See, some of you just eat cashews, you just see the nut in the bag. You don't know where it comes from. You don't know the tree that comes from. On my family's property, we have almond trees in St. Lucia. There's almond trees and we have cashew trees. When you see almonds fresh from falling from the tree, just falling on the ground, it's very unique quality, especially with cashews. Cashews are one of those nuts that is encased in poison, and it goes through a process to get each cashew nut out. You got to be very careful of that. Acai is very good for some people from Central and South America. Acai is anti to those people of color from Africa, certain parts of Africa, especially from Sudan. Okay. Oh, thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, Rhonda. I appreciate it. That's very sweet. That's very nice. Good way to thicker hair. I had my hair, remember family, because many people say, because I remember, some of our very insulting people of color who like to come on my channel and tell me I'm not brown enough. I'm not a brown woman because my hair seems seemingly straight. I tell them, I said, listen, I'm a woman of color. I know that I may not look my age, but I am a woman of color, and I'm seasoned, meaning that I'm not young. Okay, I'm seasoned. And because of that, your hair gets a little thinner as you get a little more seasoned, okay? When I was in my youth, my hair was really, really thick. It was like this. It was really, really thick and curly, okay? So it's just different now because I'm a little more seasoned. And if I was youthful, my hair would be a little more coily and a little more out there. It was a little more frizzy and coily and curly, okay? So, when people come at me and say, oh, you're not brown enough because because your hair is straight. They call me a wolf. What they call me? They said I'm an animal. I got fur. I said, what's wrong with you people? I was looking. Why would you, if you're so loving of people of color, why would you go to a woman of color and say that to her, who's speaking well of other people of color, who says positive things about people of color, who wants to uphold healthy lifestyles for children of color? Like, why would you say that? It's so absurd. You know what I mean? You are seasoning. I'm seasoned. When I say seasoned, women who gain wisdom through being here longer, I call us seasoned. I'm a little more seasoned. meaning that I've been allowed to be cultivated longer on the planet. Only in this existence. Remember, our younger people. Oh, thank you, Karima. I appreciate it. Thank you, Karima Ali. Our younger folks, who are star seeds, they're ancient. So I don't say chronologically I'm older than our ancients that are younger, that seemingly are youthful, more youthful than myself. But I just say to you that I'm a woman of a certain age. I'm seasoned. You know what I mean? So that being said, my hair is just this way. It wasn't, if any of you know me, I wore glasses. I'm a nerd. See, it's so funny that you see me now and maybe I don't realize that people don't know me when I was younger, but I'm a nerd. I wore thick glasses. I had a weird laugh like I do now, and my hair was coily and curly. And I used to put my hair in like these, I used to put like yarn in my hair, you know? Yeah, people of color have different texture hair and so on. Yeah, but it's just, it was very interesting how this being came on me and said he basically was saying that I wasn't really a person of color. Thank you, Trouble Life. I appreciate it all. Very sweet. Thank you. He said I wasn't a person. He said something. I don't. It wasn't really that important, but I just thought it was so interesting that here a mom, someone who's really in the video I was talking positive about people of color, talking about wonderful things, and he said that. It just goes to show the patriarchy, how he had to find something negative because I was empowering the sea stars and I was calling for unity amongst the lunars, the Asiatics, the Arabic family. I was calling for unity of all the sea stars. He didn't like that. He wanted us to be separatists so that we can still hate each other with disagreements that were nonsense. So he didn't like that. So he kind of wanted to placate this whole racial issue that I wasn't brown enough. You already know what I told him. You already know what I told him. He never came back to my channel. I didn't block him either. He didn't come back to my channel again because you talk that kind of mess and you are nasty like that. There's a consequence to you. And I don't even have to do anything to him. The ancestors do it for me. Yeah. I mean, I see videos with people doing all kinds of ratchet things and you don't see as many aunties to them. That's crazy. That goes to show your mindset. Yeah, I want unity. I hang out with, that's why I can talk about unity, because I'm about unity. I'm about that life. I sit on a table with my nieces from Russia, from Bulgaria. We're chilling, eating, talking smack. And our children, we want our children to be cohesive. We love it. And then I talk to my family from, Saudi Arabia, chilling with them, breaking halal. They got halal in the house. I watch them pray. I enjoy their company and family. I have an appreciation for who they are. I chill with them. I chill with everybody. So I have a healthy disposition with all aspects of those beings on Mother Earth that exist here. And I'm grateful that my parents have allotted me that kind of wide perspective of beings, because there are lunar beings who have just as many loves and likenesses to myself as brown women who have likenesses to myself. If you don't talk to them and you don't have conversations and you don't break bread with people, of course you would never know that, because they want you to perpetuate the hate that you see on TV every day. Yes, there are lunars that hate brown people, but do you know how many lunars like brown people? I just say, you got to be a little balanced in that way. They try to vaccinate you. Say no to vaccinations. Oh, thank you, Phil. I appreciate that. Mexicano, the Mexicano. Oh, I was talking to my niece from Mexico. My Incan family and my Aztecian family, I love them. Remember, we share same bloodlines because remember the Caribs and the Arawaks, our families went back and forth to Central America. That's why many of the Mexican women and the women from Central America, we tend to have same physical, I'm shaped similar to some of the Aztecian and Incan women. The Caribs, the Arawaks, and some of the Incan. Oh, thank you, Selu. I appreciate it. Some of the women from Mexicano, they look very busty. That's a Carib Arawak disposition. The women from Central America, the Incans and Aztecians, we shaped alike. So we're cousins. That's why I have a connection with our Mexicano family, from Honduras, from our family Panama, from our family from El Salvador. I love our family there because we're cousins. Genetically, we're cousins. So, and many people don't know that. That's in the Caribbean. We didn't have limitations. Many of the natives that were in the Caribbean, we were home to the Americas, the Americas. That's why it's called the Americas, because there was no limitation. When they say Mexicans don't need to be over the border, what are you talking about? The Mexicans are the same native indigenous people that existed in Texas, that existed in California, that existed in North Carolina. They went so far in and where else in the Midwest. Those are the same. There's no board. The only borders came with colonization. These are the same beings that were in the Americas. It's insanity to say keep the Mexicans out. Why are you keeping people out of their own land? This was theirs. People who came all the way from another place across the sea are going to tell neighbors and cousins to stay out of their own land. That's insanity. Haitians are mixed with the Arawaks, the Caribs. Remember, they have some of the Africano in them as well. The West Africans. It's not as much as you think. It's mostly that Arawak and Carib families. Yeah, it's crazy. It's telling people to stay out of their own country. It wasn't a country. It was just land. Native Americans, Native Indigenous didn't believe you could own you couldn't own land. They didn't believe that. They thought that the colonists, these people who came from abroad had no concept. Owning land is insanity. That's a form of narcissism. Okay, it doesn't exist. So the natives, they didn't really believe that these people were going to have land. They didn't think you could own land. The concept didn't hit them. So the Mexicanos over there, that's what I'm saying. It's so insane, and that's where the consciousness of the Latin American community is very important right now. And I want to touch that demographics more so because I have that Maya connection, the Mayan sea stars, the galactic sea stars that I'm down with. That's my kin. And I need to make sure that my Latin family, I don't want to say Latin, remember I told you I don't like that term. I shared the wonderful revolutionary Mexicano that I shared with her. She's very, very passionate. I really admire her. She's not into this whole galactic thing. She thinks I'm a little out there, but she respects my platform. I like her love, and I love her awakening the people of Central and Central America. And it's so sad because that form of Christianization that has kept the people indoctrinated has also suppressed them in their level of awakening. Okay, so I hope that there is a reawakening, and I am a proponent, and I hope that I'll be utilized as a liaison with our wonderful Latin America family because I'm highly supportive of them. And I hope to bridge the gap. Let's hope that happens. The Incan roots? Oh, the Incans. Oh my gosh. What a rich... Maybe I need to... you know what? I don't want to touch on it and be disrespectful. I want to make a video on that. Because remember, I tell you that I'm part of the Maya bloodline. I was seated here. Oh, thank you, Blonde Lebanese. That was very nice. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. That Incan bloodline, which I was seated from in previous incarnation because I'm connected to the Mayan sea stars that are also known as the Andromedans, who are here. And they were seeded from that Maya, from the Incan and Aztecian. That's the bloodline that came there. They have such a rich bloodline that they're so connected. That's why majority of Mexicanos are O positive. They are highly connected to Mother Tiamat. And their awakening is a necessity for us to jump and do the quantum leap necessary to get past this next level of consciousness. We need them. They're part of that sect that is still latent. It's still not awakened fully. And it's purposefully been suppressed by religion and Christianity. And it needs to be awakened. And I want to make a video on it, and I want to give it respect because I think, you know, I come from that base. Remember, I have family in Panama. I'm connected to the Latin bloodline. I want to make sure that when I speak to it, I speak to it in a powerful way, and I speak to it in a very informative way that would allow for receptivity. So I'll make a video on that, and when it's time for me to do that, I'll be invoked to do so. But I will say to our Mexicano family, our Honduras family, our Panamanian family, our Ecuadorian family, that in Peru, you have gifts that will shake this planet to the core. Many of our natives that are from there, remember the last cycle ended in the Mayan, the civilization going in inner earth. Okay, that details the consciousness of the beings that were there. That's why they're highly suppressed. That's why they're highly indoctrinated. And remember that bloodline, they're indigenous, what we consider to be indigenous, indigenous Americans, quote unquote, in the United States. Why alcohol, which is distilled sugar, is perpetuated in those lines is because it keeps those beings suppressed, and it attaches a demonic incarnates that are here from previous cycles that were meant to be the what is it called, like patrol, they're parole officers. They're the incarnate parole officers. So they're attached to wine and spirits. And the reason why they perpetuate the liquor in those communities is because the allergy which the natives have to distilled sugar, which is alcohol, which causes a perpetually alcohol, the whole population of indigenous being predisposition to being alcoholics. It was purposefully introduced to those populations because they knew that it would suppress them, and that addiction would keep them indoctrinated, it would keep them limited, and also would allow those entities attached to the wine and spirits, those spiritual incarnate parole officers, to keep them suppressed. Okay, that's why many people don't realize, like I've heard such negative things talking about, oh, Mexicans, they're alcoholics. No, no. They have an allergy, just like the indigenous here. The indigenous populations here have an allergy to liquor, and it gives them a euphoric feeling. It's an allergy. It just happens to have a good feeling along with it, but it causes addiction. So we don't talk about that because they're the same people. Anyway, we need a long conversation with that. It's so important, and it's so sensitive, and it needs to be addressed. It really does. And I want our Latina, I don't want to say Latina, our Mexicano family. I really, because the Mexicans have the most, listen to me, the most power to overcome that inception. I need them to come online. I need them to step forward and be more vocal publicly like this. I want you to do that. It's necessary. It's necessary for the people to hear from your tongue, because that people need to hear that, but they also need to hear the native tongues that are from the Incan and the Maya. They have to hear it, because when you speak the tongue of your ancients, it will invoke codons to awaken. So love yourself, and again, I've had dreams of the markings on my face. My sea stars are connected to the Maya. We're one. So when the awakening of those bloodlines awaken, that will propel the ascension process a little quicker. I have memory about fighting and training someone. I was fighting some kind of octopus looking entity. Oh, thank you, Divine Goddess. I appreciate. Thank you. So sweet. I didn't even know you guys could do that. I appreciate it. Thank you. You were fighting. It's a lot of you are having memories who are connected to, first of all, anybody attracted to these videos and me generally has a connection to the Andromedans or the Anunnaki, the Nega line, which are the warrioresses. And if you're connected to the Maya, you already know we are already the Maya. A lot of us went in inner earth, and some of us have been reseeded. The Maya, the EBE seeded us. So we have her bloodline. Oh, the people say negative things. The Mexicans, listen, we could go about that all day. This is a conversation we need to have, though, and I want to make sure it's appropriate. And you know what? I want to make sure it's translatable. So, my Spanish is okay, but I would love to have someone translate the message so that it can be heard. And because remember, just like in our French culture, a lot of times, especially the elders, they don't speak English, and it's hard to get messages across because that barrier is there. I want to share my thoughts and what I know to be, but I want it to be translatable. Okay, because I think that's sometimes how they get away with doing these darker about. That's the way with doing what they do. They know that some of us wake up, but some of us don't share the same tongue, and they bank on that. They bank on we won't be able to exchange the messages based on the fact we have limitation of tongues. Okay, that's why telepathy is so important. Yo hablo español. I love it. Anyway, family, I've gone all kinds of sidebar. I enjoy, I like coming on at night sometimes, especially when I have this pent up energy. It was a full moon, but this full moon didn't do as much. I appreciate that the full moon had not as many negative effects on me this time. I'm grateful. Where the indigenous Mayans copper color. The indigenous Mayans look like myself, but the Mayans that I rock with have dreadlocks. They look like me. Everything to the detail, to the T. Some are darker, like more darker brown, but they look like me. Okay, the Maya. Okay. So, but the ones that I rock with, the Andromedans, they have dreadlocks. They had that adaptation in Mayan culture during the time when the matriarchy was in rulership. When the patriarchy came online, that's when they had the whole cataclysm, and then they went to the inner earth. But until then, it was a matriarchal society. Oh, there's racism. Racism is not what you think. It's speciesism. It's hidden as racism. It's really not what you think. It's a form of colorism. It's tied into species and infighting of different species, reptilian. I'm telling you, they call it racism. I mean, people think you're fighting of different complexions. They're doing that purposefully to kind of make us separated. But there's a lot of the fighting that is really perpetuated amongst species. It's really different species that have the issues. Predator had dreadlocks. I told you, watch Predator versus Alien with Sanaa Lathan. It will tell you about the Mayans. I told you the Mayan sisters that I rock with work with a bunch of insectilians. So what they did is they took the faces of the insectilian, they predispositioned it, they imposed it on the faces of the Mayan women. Look at the cover of Aliens versus Predator. I told you who I rock with. Look what they're standing in front of, the Mayan temples. They are the baddest that were here. They are the warrioresses that you see in Wonder Woman. They are the warrioresses that you see rocking in Black Panther. That is all Andromedans. Okay, they're the baddest warrioresses. Okay, so that's who's detailing that they predispositioned those insectilians on top of their faces. They're merging two beings. They're not the same. They're different beings. These are Mayan females that come from the matriarchy during the time before the cataclysm, and they went inner earth, and they befriended a bunch of insectilians like ant beings that they rock with now. Anyway, family, I gotta go. I'm drinking water. For anybody who doesn't know, water that I magnetize. I magnetize my water too. Yeah, the nigga. You're starting to see the factions of Andromedans and Anunnaki bloodlines working together. You see them together. You see them partnered up. You're starting to see the Andromedans partnered up with Anunnaki nigga. You see them, and even in couplings, you're starting to see couples that represent the Maya and represent the Anunnaki. Because that's who has had a home court advantage right now. Those two bloodlines. The matriarchy, along the line of the matriarchy. So you're starting to see them position themselves too. They're starting to take down people like Wendy Williams is going, Jay-Z is going. They're dethroning people because they're going to place their own people in there. So anyway, we can get into that all day. So I'm going to go. I enjoy this conversation. We always have a wonderful conversation. And, I have to remember to make certain, sometimes I just forget because I talk about so many things and I have so much intel that needs to come out. But we'll discuss this. I want to make sure that I really talk to our Central American sect, our Americano sect, because it's necessary at this time. Anyway, family, I'm out. Have a good evening. Enjoy and have masterful dreams. And we will chat again. Peace.